Amphibia, the first temple. And I thought it was pretty cool that they did a shortened opener, and then you go right into the episode. Like, instead of it being split into two episodes, it's just one long episode. Or back when I was a kid, a normal length episode. But so Marcy comes back, and they have their little adventure going into the first, temple to recharge the crystals. While not an amazing episode for being a double episode, I don't know. It was okay. Like, there's a little lesson to be learned too, which is kind of funny that they put the lesson like into the story of the temple. But there's a lot of questions. It leaves a lot of questions. But so we jump in, we open up, they're all having breakfast, and they're having like a nice breakfast because Hop Pop still feels bad for what happened in the last episode, where remember when he hid the treasure box or the music box, and got really upset about it. So Sprig's like, oh man, thank goodness that happened, because we never get to have chocolate chip pancakes. But it's just Hop Pop trying to go above and beyond to be like, look, Anne, I care about you. But Anne's still being a little bit cold towards Hop Pop, and I'm like, oh, that kind of sucks. But that does happen in life, where you think you're over something and you're really not. But Marcy shows up, and she has this really cool, like, robin. This bird's pretty cool looking. But Marcy is who she is. She's very loud, and she's very energetic, and she's super into the thing that she wants to do, which is nice, but it can get on your nerves. And it gets on my nerves a little bit, and it gets on Anne's nerves a little bit, because it's like, God, Lord, Marcy, take a breath. But she's like, oh, I did a bunch of studying on the box, and I guess it's like a puzzle box too. And she does this, and that, and opens it up to where the little gems can come out. She pulls a gem out, and she's like, oh, when we get to this first temple, we get through these trials, we can recharge the gem. Once all the gems are recharged, we can get back home. Oh, okay, pretty simple. Her little war bird is like hitting on Betsy. It's your bird, it's a slug. He's all like, hey, baby. Super funny, ridiculous. They all get on the bird. They're going to go fly to the first temple. There's no room for Hop Pop, and so it just carries him. It would be equally amazing and terrifying at the same time, because all the bird has to do is let you go and you're dead. What a way to die. But what a great view, though. So, they're like she's going over the temple. What it does, it recharges the crystals. And the first one they're going to is going to be the one of knowledge. And of course, Marcy's super crazy smart, but she's also super crazy hyper focused on the things she wants. She calls it a superpower, and kind of, maybe in certain situations. We get a bunch of little flashbacks where Marcy's just in her thing and not paying attention. I think it's adorable that Anne was Peter Pan in this school play, which is super, super cute. Is this foreshadowing? Does Sasha lose an arm? Does that happen? Or is it just playing, like, is there something more to this Peter Pan play, or is it just Peter Pan? But Marcy's like, oh, don't worry about it. I got this. I'm super smart. You can depend on me. They get to the forest, and there's an outhouse. And I like how Spring gets to check it out. Well, it's an outhouse. Well, yeah, we kind of figured that. But there's a big temple there, and they're going to make their way in. Marcy can decipher this ancient language. This first puzzle kind of doesn't make any sense to me. So it gives you like a little clue, and there's like a puzzle box on the ground, and it's like a Rubik's Cube. The person holding the cube gets put into like a bubble, and then as they're manipulating the cube, it's manipulating the room. So it's like shifting the room around, and so Anne and Sprig and Pop and Polly are getting thrown around, but Marcy just doesn't care because she wants to figure out the puzzle. So she doesn't even realize that it's throwing them all over the place, and it could quite possibly kill them. But what if you went into this place by yourself? You know what I'm saying? Like, so this whole temple just assumed you're coming with friends. Like, there should have been a reason, like maybe they all had to stand on something to open the door. Like, it had to be entered by 4 or 5 people, whatever the number is going to be. Make it to where the temple had to be entered by a certain amount of people, because it doesn't make any sense. Because you went by yourself, this first thing would be just solving a puzzle while floating in a bubble. Like, okay, whatever. They get to the next one, and it is the clue is, don't be envious and da-da-da. So the green squares, green and envy. And I like Hop Pop's like, well, I have a lot of friends that are green. They'll take quite offense to that. But they had to stand on these 2 squares to deactivate the puzzle, because if you step on the red one, it's fire. Step on the blue one, you get crushed. Again, so this temple was meant to be solved by multiple people. how did they know that? Like was there an ancient text that, said multiple people have to enter the temple? Just a little one word line of dialogue when Marcy was explaining this temple would explain this. But then we get a little fight, between Hop Hop and Anne. And because nobody wants to do it, but you're like, okay, she's standing on one of the green squares. Like, oh, someone's standing on the other. They're like, are you sure, Marcy? Are you 100% sure? Because if we fall down on that and get killed. But like, if it's dangerous, Hop Hop and Anne both want to do it. And this is one of the few times where I'm like, Anne, you're being a complete Bianca right now, like hardcore. Because what she says is just gross and mean. Hop Hop's like, no, Anne, the whole point of this thing is to get you home alive. Let me do it. I'm an old man. If something bad happens to me, so be it. But then Anne's like, oh, isn't it your responsibility to take care of your family? And then she points to Sprig and Polly and like doesn't consider herself part of the family. Then Hop Hop's like, well, I care about you too, Anne. She's like, oh yeah, to a certain extent. Ooh, Anne, you're being a bitch. It's like hardcore. I don't know. You're being so ungrateful, Anne, because you've been through so much with this family and you're going to just turn around one thing because of that one thing where you hid the box and he explained it to you why he did it and it wasn't for malicious reasons, but you're still going to be this oh my goodness, I did not like that. But again, characters have flaws. That's what makes them interesting. So they're both going to jump on it. Anne gets there first, but she kind of almost gets herself killed. Like she activates the red square and the blue square, so she almost gets killed. But it, 2 people on 2 green squares opens it up. They're walking down a super long hall. Marcy's just being a spazoid because that's who she is. Anne and Hop Hop are still arguing. And he's like, I don't understand, Anne. I thought you said, you forgave me for that. I'm sorry that happened. Well, maybe I spoke too soon. So they're good. They're still at each other's throats. And then Sprig and Polly are like, hey, Marcy, you want to talk to Anne? Like maybe there's something you can say. And she's like, oh, no, let's get over it. Marcy's just stuck in her puzzle world. She does like her separation between real life and her like mental, like the things she's trying to do mentally, these challenges. She has a hard time. She'd rather just abandon real life. Like your friend's in a real problem right now and you can be there for her, but you're not because your nose is too deep in this book. Marcy kind of irritates me, but that's, you have, everyone has people in their lives that are a certain way and you just love them anyways, but you understand them. Marcy has this where she can't unfocus, which it can be good, can also be really bad. They're like, oh, they'll figure it out. It's a 1 hour walk. You know how far you can go in an hour when you're walking? So this hallway is an hour long. Anne and Hop Hop are still fighting. I kind of like this angle of Anne, like looking back, because you normally don't see this angle right here. I think it looks really, really cool. I don't know. I just know why they jumped out at me. It looks really cool. They finally get to the final puzzle, and it's like a game of chess, but it's called like Toad Flip or something like that. It's very similar to chess, but different. And of course, Marcy's she's been practicing this game for like a long, long time. And she's like, okay, let's set up the board. If this is the final challenge, I got this. But as she's setting up the pieces, the rest of her party's becoming the pieces on a bigger board, a la freaking almost Harry Potter, right? But what if you had no one with you? You know what I'm saying? Like the whole idea that people have to be with you for these puzzles to work, I still think is really strange. But as she's adding pieces, they start becoming the characters. So Polly's the first one to go and she's like the knight. Or the rook. Then Anne's like, hey, maybe we should stop, like that's, oh, don't worry about it. I got this. I'm the best player in the world. Hop Hop is a bishop. And I like how Sprig's a pawn and they laugh at him. He's like the weakest character. I love it. But the one thing about chess is, even though technically a pawn's a weak character, all of your pieces are important. Then Marcy's like, oh, Anne, get ready. You're going to be the next piece. She sets up all the pieces. Anne's on the black side. She's on the bad guy team. So she's on a knight, and I do like how Polly's like, you're a traitor. It's like, she had any control over this. Anne's like, oh, I'll just lose on purpose. But they become like part of the game. They have no control over themselves. So they're pieces that could like die. Marcy goes first, and one of her pieces gets taken, and it just gets completely obliterated. And then Sprig's like, I don't want to play this game anymore. And get his head freaking knocked off. But Marcy's like, don't worry, guys. I'm really good. I'll keep you guys out of trouble. And so the game goes on and they're playing, taking pieces. They're dodging attacks and they're barely getting out of these situations. And they make it to the very end, and Marcy's like, oh, final move. It's basically the checkmate. The black king piece just jumps out of the way. Then Marcy's like, what the F? This game's cheating. Like, how am I supposed to win if the game's going to cheat? So it sends Anne's knight after Hop Pop, and then Hop Pop's like getting his butt whopped. And he's like, oh, what a day. So he's like getting beat up. So everyone's like, hey, Marcy, do something. Hop Pop's going to get killed. So he's getting chased around the board. And that's like the fact that it's just him getting hit. Like he's never attacking Anne back. He's always getting attacked. But then he's like, hey, Anne, I bet you're really enjoying this. You beating the crap out of me. Anne's like, I'm upset with you, but I didn't want to hurt you. He's like, but you hurt me all the time. Every time you bring up my failure, you're hurting me. And I'm sorry that this happened and I made a mistake and I'm trying to make up for it. But every single time, every little side comment you make hurts my feelings. And I'm trying my best. It's like, what can I do? I'll do whatever it takes. Just tell me what to do. Anne's like, I don't know what. Just give me some time. And then Hop Pop's like, okay, Anne, I'll give you all the time you need. And maybe it's better for us to actually admit that there's issues here instead of just pretending there's no issue. And then maybe we can like work through this, which is nice. It's a good message because not everything can be instantly forgiven. I think Anne's still being a major league B word. But it's nice that they kind of came to an understanding. Sprig's holding another pawn. He had a family. So they're like, what do we do? Like, this game can't be won because the black pieces are cheating. Then Marcy's like, forget it. I give up. I just forfeit my king. Game still is going on. So she runs out there. It's like, maybe I got to just destroy our king. So she goes out there and physically actually stops it. It's like getting, she's being attacked by the board and everything. She throws Sprig at the king, destroys her own piece. Then they lost. So they forfeited. Hop Pop, he's always getting his ass whooped. It's hilarious. Why is it funny when someone's all beat the crap up? I love it. It's just great. But then Marcy's like, well, I lost. I'm so much for the smartest girl in the world. But like, hey, don't worry. We'll try again. But I guess you only get one chance at this. So if they go back into the temple, Marcy can't go. But Anne's like, hey, we'll figure it out. Like we'll go back and we'll try again. So they're making their way out of the temple. There was like a bunch of little arrows saying exit this way. And she's like, oh, fine, whatever. It's kicking us out. Hop Pop's super tired. And then Anne kind of gives him a piggyback ride, which is sweet. It's really, really nice. They get outside. And then, they're like, hey, Marcy, we're going to get through this. We're going to charge the crystal. We're going to get home. But then there's more arrows. And then Marcy's like, okay, fine, whatever. This stupid place wants us to really get the heck out of here. Goes to that little outhouse. And then I guess this is where he charged the crystal, like the toilet. It's so gross. I love it when Marcy goes up to it and then Hop Pop's like, I wouldn't recommend touching that. That's where people go poop. But I guess it does like this little like poem saying, hey, the lesson learned here was, it's friendship and, not sacrificing your friends. Really, really good story. It starts to charge the crystal, but here's that foreshadowing stuff. We see the energy, like the reflection in Marcy's eyes, then it drains out of her eyes. What's the connection here? Are these crystals being charged by like their life force or something? Or like it's showing how they're connected to the crystals? I don't know. But instead of it showing her eyes get full of energy, it's showing it get drained of energy. I don't know. Once the crystal's charged, it points to where the next temple is. And like, okay, cool. We can actually go the same night, but come on, we need a rest. Hop Pop accidentally steps on Anne's foot, but then they have that whole like, oh no, I know you didn't do it on purpose, and I know that you're sorry, and I appreciate you as a human being. Like they do that whole like super apology. And so yeah, that's the end of their first temple adventure. We get to the king, and they're getting reports saying, hey, there's rebellions. It's not just a small local thing. The Toad Lords are coming together. They're gonna like attack us. And the king couldn't care less. Look at him. He's just, I guess, unfortunate. And then the general was like, well, king, we got to do something about this. He gets a letter from Marcy saying, ooh, they made progress, and he's happy. So I don't think he gives a flying crap what happens to Amphibia. He's like, oh, don't worry. It's fine. Well, everything will work out. So he walks down the hall, activates this temple thing, and goes downstairs. Is this in the same room? Did I forget her name, the general lady, did she see that? see him go down this temple thing, or did he go to a different room? I don't know. So he walks his way down there. We see those weird little ghosts. Remember, they ran into these little ghost spectral things. He takes his crown off, gets on his knees, and is like, oh, the prophecy's being undone. Soon we'll have our revenge. Oh, so he was a bad guy the whole time. Or in leagues with bad guys. I never trusted this guy. I always thought he was a little too nice, a little too joyful about everything. So he's in league with whatever the hell this is. This 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. This 14-eyed monster. So he's a bad guy. And revenge for what? Obviously it's connected to the calamity box, and whatever that calamity was must be connected to whatever this thing is. But super cool. We're getting deep loring implications here, which is always fun. We learned a lesson about, like, winning isn't as important as sacrificing your friends. Just don't do that. That's a bad thing to do, even if it is to win. This little Hop and Ann still having this lingering tension over what happened. I think Anne's being just a little bit of a crybaby, but she is a little girl. I do have to keep that in mind. She is a girl in junior high, so you got to take that for what it is. But the first temple and full-length episode, not super amazing, but definitely moves the plot forward. Definitely learning some more about lore and everything, and pretty good. I'm moving more quickly than I have through these episodes. I'm gonna keep this pace up. 2-3 episodes a week at least. And thank you guys for watching, sharing, commenting, doing all that fun, cool stuff. Interacting with you guys when I like your posts and I thumbs them up. It's fun for me to do that kind of stuff. So thanks for watching, guys. Catch you on the next one. Crimson Sin here. Thanks for watching the video. Remember, liking, subscribing, sharing, and commenting on the video really helps out a lot. It gets the video spread around more people get to see the videos, and we get to make more videos for you guys. So thank you, and we appreciate every single one of you guys.